And in my head, we're missing the most obvious solution of starting a throuple.
I'm not necessarily a slow reader, but I am a distracted reader.
Do you want to see my tail?
Oh, we meet and we fall in love and we're together forever.
No, I love him. No, I love him. No, I love him. No, I love him. And I'm like, yeah, we know you love both of them. Why can't you just share? Hello everyone, my name is Julie, and admittedly, I have a bit of a tendency to set really long TBRs and then never actually read the books from those lists. Particularly when it comes to my seasonal TBRs, I'll have a list of 20 books I want to read during those 3 months, and then I maybe read 3 of them. So today I'm going to try to read some books off of my summer TBR. I posted a short video where I showed you some of the books I've taken out from the library, all from my summer TBR, and I asked you guys which ones you thought I should read next. Overwhelmingly, the results were all kind of skewed towards 1 or 2 of these books, so those are the books we'll be reading in this vlog. This week I will strictly be reading books from my summer TBR as chosen by you guys. How many books I get to this week really depends on both my work schedule, my attention span, whether that's 2, 3, 4 books. It depends on how fast of a reader I am this week. Let's just go through which ones you guys wanted to see me read the most. The book with the most votes overwhelmingly was Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This came as really no surprise to me. Emily Henry is a very, very popular author. This book is basically about Nora, who is a literary agent, and Charlie, who is an editor. I think they start out as rivals and then they kind of come together in a small town and fall in love. That sounds cutie as hell. I can't wait to read it. The next book people wanted to see me read was Chlorine by Jade Song, which I was a little bit surprised by. I know horror isn't as popular of a genre, so I was a little surprised that people chose this one. It might just be purely off of aesthetics, to be honest. But this is a horror novel about a swimmer who I think is either convinced that they're a mermaid or is willing to do anything they can do to become a mermaid. I relate to that. Definitely I relate to that. So this will be the second book we get to. If we have time, there were also a whole lot of votes for One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one follows our main character who marries her high school sweetheart. He dies in a helicopter crash. She remarries only to find out that he survived the helicopter crash and now she has 2 husbands essentially. This will be our, go-to if we have enough time, if we get through these 2 quick enough. These 2 books also had quite a few votes. Flashlight by Susan Choi and Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. More backup choices should we somehow read 3 books in a week. And then with the least amount of votes, we have 28 Summers by Ellen Hildebrand and Things We Hide from the Light. So probably will not be getting to those this week. I know I just listed off 7 different books, but I also have on my July TBR Firefly Lane. This is for my physical TBR. So if I'm feeling like none of these are screaming out to me, I might just switch gears and go to Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. This is a coming of age story that follows 2 neighbors who become best friends, and it follows them throughout their whole life and their friendship and their trials and their tribulations. So I love it. I have so many great options here. I'm so excited to read them this week, and I'll let you know what I think.
It is Sunday, the first day in my reading books for my summer TBR challenge. Summer reading challenge, what are we calling it? I don't know what we're calling it. And I have perhaps a delusional thought that I can read all of Book Lovers in one day. It's about 370 pages. I'm not necessarily a slow reader, but I am a distracted reader. Give me my phone, the television, my computer, and a million other things, and I go off track. So let's see if I have the mental capacity to finish this book in a single day. And we've got my cat here also helping me, so. Which means it's 5 o'clock, meaning I've been reading for about 2 hours. I'm 130 pages in. I guess that's pretty good progress if it was about 2 hours of reading. So that's a little bit over a page a minute, not too shabby. I have been a little bit distracted, to be honest, because it is Sunday and it's the World Cup finals today. So obviously I've been watching that on my phone while I'm like outside reading. So it's been a little bit distracting, but to be honest, the neighbors behind us, they've also been watching outside. So anytime like I hear them like screaming, I'm like, oh, gotta like focus on my phone and look away from the book for a second. So they've been actually very good indicators of when I need to be watching. Shall we get back to it? I suppose so. Basically, this is about Nora and Charlie, who are both very bookish individuals. Charlie is an editor and Nora is a literary agent. So they are both very into their careers, very career oriented, which I mean, I cannot relate to. Like, I do the job that I'm supposed to do and then I go home, like 9 to 5, no overtime. I'm not married to my job, never have been, never will be. Either way, I do really like Nora just because she's in the literary industry, and I'm a librarian. So like they're adjacent, I love that. In the prologue of this book, they briefly meet when they're supposed to work together. It doesn't work out, and then we kind of go into the main gist of the story, which is 2 years later. Nora and her sister are going on vacation in this small town, Sunshine Falls, North Carolina, where one of her author's books is set. And she comes across Charlie, who is also there for reasons that you'll find out if you read the book yourself, or you have already. I feel like I'm the last person to read this book. And their paths just keep crossing over and over again. They're both seen as like really serious, really kind of harsh in their careers. And so there's a little bit of something brewing. But this is the thing I love about Emily Henry books is I'm not a huge romance girl. I feel like a lot of romance books just never work for me. And it's like, am I the problem? I don't know. But with her books, they're a lot more literary women's fiction focused. Like it's not just like, oh, we meet and we fall in love and we're together forever. Like there's a lot of humor. There's a lot of like backstory, a lot of growth. It's more than just one note of romance. Like you really get to know and love these characters, and that's what she does so well. That's why she's so popular. Definitely enjoying this. Will I finish it in a day as I kind of hoped / predicted? I guess we'll see. It's only 5 o'clock and I've made it about almost a third of the way through, so it's potential. Will I actually do it? Dipper, what do we think? Will I do it? The jury's still out.
All right, I definitely did not finish this all yesterday, but I did finish it this morning. It was under 24 hours, which I still think is pretty impressive. Go me, go my goldfish brain. This was the 4th Emily Henry book I've read, and I would rate it pretty highly as compared to the others. In my official tier ranking of the books I've read by her, I would put Beach Read at the bottom. I just thought it was kind of boring. Happy Place would be 3rd. This book's Book Lovers would be 2nd, and 1st would be Funny Story, because of course it's about a librarian. Hello, I am a librarian. I really enjoyed the themes of this book when it came to family and where your home is, like how relationships bend and break when people move away. They're all things that are just so relevant and potent in my own life. You know, having 2 sisters of my own, I know our main character in this is an older sister, and that's a very pertinent part of the story, is that she's the older sister. She feels like she always has to solve the problems. Kind of this trope of like, older sister gets shit done and the younger one's maybe doing things a bit selfishly. That's definitely explored in this. As a middle child myself, maybe I'm a little bit of both of those. Where was I going with this? Oh yes, as a middle child myself, having my older and younger sister both move away, it's definitely very challenging as you grow up and as lives change and diverge, that, you know, you're still family even if you only see each other a handful of times a year. I feel like I could certainly relate to those concerns and fears. My family has gone so far as wanting to start a commune, a community where we could all live close together, and I get that. I get wanting to be close to people you love the most, and that's something that's definitely explored in this book that I really enjoyed. We also got some really great small town vibes, and while we know Nora is not a small town girl, she wants to be in a city, kind of defeat those tropes of moving out to the small town to find a man. We definitely still got those really great vibes of a small town. It definitely felt reminiscent to Gilmore Girls, specifically when they attend a town meeting. There's just a lot of tomfoolery that goes on in this small town. Like everybody knows each other. I ended up really liking this. I like how it wrapped up. Obviously it's a romance, you're gonna expect them to get together. It was, I feel, a little predictable, but I mean, that's a romance book for you. I think Emily Henry is obviously very popular for a reason. So I gave this 4 stars. I enjoyed it. It was a really great summer read. I obviously binged it in a day, so I'd say that was a success. And so it is time to pick up our second book for this video. I think we're gonna go with a big tonal shift. We're gonna go with Chlorine by Jade Song, which, like I mentioned, is a horror book about a swimmer who wants to be a mermaid.
It's now quite a bit later and I couldn't find anywhere in the house that had decent lighting at this time of day. So I'm in my dad's office. His bookshelves are behind me if you ever wondered where the reading obsession came with. It's apparently genetic. I'm only about 50 pages into Chlorine. It's a very short book. It's under 300 pages, but it's not exactly like a page turner. It's not super bingeable. I think it's taking an interesting turn. It's kind of like a creepy coming of age story about this young girl who is a swimmer, and her coach isn't like exactly abusive, but he's definitely very harsh and a little bit inappropriate. And so it kind of looks at, you know, the beauty standard of girls and athletes specifically, which is kind of like where we get this idea of being a mermaid is that they are forming their bodies to be the best swimmers. And Ren-yu, the main character, which literally translates to fish person, is taking this a step further of, you know, wanting to transform her body into being a mermaid. She grew up reading fairy tales and mythology about mermaids, and she is so perplexed why, like in the stories in like The Little Mermaid, mermaids want to turn into humans because she just thinks she's a mermaid. She's dying to be a mermaid. And so the first chapter, we kind of see her in present day where she, I guess, allegedly is a mermaid. I don't know if that's actually the truth, if there are like actual magical elements in this book, or, you know, it's like some sort of delusion. I'm not really sure quite yet, but it starts with her being a mermaid, and then we're going back into her history of becoming a swimmer. I think there also might be some like LGBTQ elements in here. She's very close with one of her other teammates on the swim team and is a little bit like kind of intimate with this other girl. We also look a little bit about immigration and like different cultures, since Ren-yu is the daughter of Chinese immigrants, and so she doesn't listen to the same music as her peers, her teammates. Like, they don't quite understand the culture. She mentions how nobody ever invited them into the carpool, and they didn't even ever say anything because in their heads the carpool was just like kind of a little funny joke about, oh yeah, we're taking the car to go to the pool. I'm enjoying this. It's just, I don't think I'm gonna get through it in one day. I'm working tomorrow morning, but I'm thinking maybe afterwards I could do like a little something fun, like go to the beach, the park, and do a little bit more reading of this. So hopefully we could do that tomorrow afternoon. I'm off from work. I decided to drive over to the park. The only problem is that it's been raining on and off again, so all the benches are wet, so can't really sit on those to read. They do have this little picnic area that has a bunch of overhangs. I could sit under those. The only problem with that is that there's the water park, the pool right next door with the slides, and it seems like there's some sort of camp going on there, so there's a lot of children screaming. So we'll see how long this little excursion actually lasts. I can't imagine terribly long, unfortunately, but you know, it's good to get out of the house, do some reading, get some air, even if the weather is subpar. And I forgot my headphones. What's happening right now is absolutely foul. We're very close to the end of the book. And yeah, our swimmer is about to become a mermaid in the most disgusting way possible. Oh my gosh.
I finished Chlorine by Jade Song, and it definitely got a little bit wild in the end. So this is going to be a sort of spoilery review, and also a little bit graphic, just based on the nature of this book. So if you are grossed out easily, or if you have plans on reading this book, you could skip to this time. Ren is a swimmer who is held to a very high standard. She has a very strict diet, a very strict idea of what her body should look like to get the fastest times, to be the best swimmer, to get the scholarship. She's under a tremendous amount of pressure. She also grew up with a lot of mermaid lore, and after a concussion, and perhaps just based on who she is, she starts thinking, wow, I really, I'm a mermaid and I just need to fulfill this prophecy and become the mermaid that I am. I need to have a tail instead of legs. So at the big regional swim meet, she decides that she is going to give herself a tail. This is where it gets gross. Warning, warning. She decides to essentially sew her legs together so that instead of two legs, she has a grotesque tail. And of course, that doesn't really work out for her, since a lot of people are very concerned for her mental well-being, and she is sent to the hospital because she basically mutilated herself, and she is still convinced, I'm a mermaid, let me go to the water, let me swim, I need to go be with my people. And so Ren entrusts her best friend Kathy, who there's, a little bit of crushing going on both ways there. And so Kathy rescues Ren from the hospital and brings her to a creek. And that's the end of the story. It's pretty bonkers, and I'd rate it probably 3.5 stars. It had a lot of interesting themes, a little bit of gross body horror, and it was an overall good time. You may not know this though, me and Ren are actually very similar. We are both willing to do anything to become a mermaid. I mean, I didn't sew my legs together. I just spent $80 on a mermaid tail website. Do you want to see my tail? Chlorine, I started One True Loves, and I've actually made quite a bit of progress. It's a very quick moving book. It's only about 300 pages, if that, and it's exactly as I explained it earlier. A woman marries her high school sweetheart, he dies in a helicopter crash, and she is now engaged to, funnily enough, another person from high school, a friend from high school, only to find out that he has somehow miraculously, the original guy, survived this helicopter crash and is now back. And she has two options in front of her, and it's definitely very messy because she loves both of them. They both love her. She's pretty much committed to both of them. One true loves. It's because she has two true loves. And while I flew through the beginning of this, we were getting the backstory about Emma and Jesse, the first guy, Emma and Sam, the second guy. Just a lot of backstory about, you know, their small town life, the bookstore their parents own, their connections. But now that we're in the latter half of the book, it's kind of just Emma whinging and whining about how she has two true loves and she can't pick, which I get, that's so fair enough. It's a very unfortunate scenario to be in, but we get it, TJR. She is conflicted on who to choose. She loves both of them. They both love her. This almost feels like grief baiting or something. Like she's just trying to make us sad just to be sad. We know the scenario sucks. We know it's sad. It's tragic. She has to choose, but it just keeps kind of pushing that over and over again. Like we know. Let's just see what happens. Let's wrap it up. Let's figure it out. And in my head, we're missing the most obvious solution of starting a throuple. And I know that sounds like me trying to be funny, but like for real, you both love her. She loves both of you. Why can't you share? I don't know, it seems really selfish of these two men to be like, you have to choose. And they're trying to be a little bit selfless. They're like, oh, well, I'm gonna give you space. You don't have to choose me, blah, 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 blah. Even if you think you're being selfless, you're putting a lot of pressure on her. Why can't you just share? I don't know. It's a very odd scenario, uncharted territory. So it's like, I don't know, like, would it be that bad if you all kind of loved her together and that's fine? I don't know. I'm typically very into monogamy, but in this scenario, I'm like, I think it would be okay if she had both of them. For now, she's just like, no, I love him. No, I love him. No, I love him. No, I love him. And I'm like, yeah, we know you love both of them. I get it. It's a sucky scenario. I don't know how many more pages of this I can read of her wanting to be with both of them, where in my head, the solution is so easy. I'll let you know when I finish. I won't spoil it for you. You'll have to figure it out for yourself. But I will let you know if the ending was satisfying or not. I have completed One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and it was fine. It was fine. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It just kind of sat at a 3-star rating for me. Completely average. Not a standout book, in my opinion. I'm not going to give you any spoilers outright, but the moral of the story basically boiled down to people change, which doesn't feel, you know, particularly groundbreaking. Also, I have some gripes with the marketing of this book. In my head, this was a summer book. You know, there's a beach on the cover. Even alternative covers have kind of a beach setting. And I suppose that's because the main character and her first husband lived in California before, you know, everything went down. But the bulk of this story, the main present timeline when her dead husband kind of revives from the dead, is set during the winter. It's set during a snowstorm, nonetheless. So it definitely does not feel like a summer book. Not that I really terribly minded. I'm not a super seasonal reader, but I just kind of went in with false expectations of a summery setting, which I did not receive. Not much more to say on this one without giving anything outright away. 3 stars, fine. A fine way to end off this reading vlog. But before I sign off, we do have some summer bookish bingo boxes to fill in. For our first book, Book Lovers, we can color in a book about books. For the book Chlorine, we could do a book with a mermaid. And finally, One True Loves, I'm just gonna color in the box that says a library book, even though all 3 of these were library books. We're making some great progress on this challenge. If you want to play along, even though summer's just about over, you can download these assets from my community page. Let me know if you have read any great summer reads recently, any that I should add to my TBR. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more content like this. I will see you next time. Peace out, Girl Scout, and goodbye.